All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Jane Stevens, and I am the training manager here at Zolo, and we're going to be talking about buyers today. So it's a popular topic. We're specifically going to focus on that initial conversation. So it's very different if you are used to talking to lease leads. It's a very different conversation. With lease leads, we are pre-qualifying them heavily, whereas with buyers, we really just want to know if they're working with a realtor, right? And if they're not, then that's the green light for us to go ahead and get to that in-person showing, get to that in-person meeting. So that's really going to be the focus, right? We want to get to those in-person meetings, to those showings with those buyers. And then how do we build rapport? How do we build trust? How do we get them to be loyal to us? I know it happens, we get ghosted as realtors. Let's talk about how to eliminate that as much as possible. So that's really what the focus is going to be today. Of course, there's a whole bunch of things that we can talk about when we're talking about buyers, how to prepare the offers, how to position an offer in the best possible way, how to present an offer, how to compete in multiples. But again, today we're just going to focus on that initial conversation and really how to build loyalty, because that's really the first step. Without that, you're not going to get to the multiple offer situation. So let's jump in and start. But before we do, I do just want to mention that there are a whole bunch of new resources available for you guys. So if you need any help, there's lots of places to go. So for realtor support, if you need any help with your CRM, if your leads have slowed down for some reason, or you want to switch up your neighborhoods, whatever it is, we now have a dedicated support line for that. So please email realtor_support@zolo.ca. In addition to that, if you haven't had your CRM turned on yet, you're still kind of, in the onboarding stage, you've just joined Zolo, welcome, that's great. There is a whole other line for you guys, onboarding@zolo.ca. They'll help you with all things training up until your leads are actually turned on. And then once your leads are turned on, then, from there it's realtor support. And then, of course, any deal related questions, please do contact your team lead or your growth manager. So, all right, before we get started, I would love to hear from you guys. I have a good group of people already here today, so I love to see that. I'd love to just know who is joining me here today. So I'm just going to launch a quick poll. If you guys don't mind answering just a few questions. When did you get your license? How many leases have you done? How many buyers have you worked with? Just a few questions there, nothing too hard. Just wanting to get to know you guys a little bit better. So while you're answering those questions, I will just pull up the calendar here as well. So this is the calendar for May. As you guys know, or maybe those of you who are newer to us, we always have our new agent orientations on Mondays and Wednesdays, and we've broken it up into two parts. So Mondays, we talk about the CRM exclusively, and then on Wednesdays, we talk about web forms. So really on Monday, we're talking about how to have those conversations with those leads that are coming in, how to convert them to showings, and then on Wednesday, we talk about what happens next. If they do like something, how are you going to put the paperwork together? So I talk about web forms. And actually what's new this month is, as you will see on the calendar, every Wednesday is a different type of document, a different type of transaction. So tomorrow I will be talking about offers to purchase. So that goes hand in hand with today's topic. So we're working with buyers. Tomorrow, join me on web forms and I will show you how to actually put an offer to purchase together. And then next week we'll do a listing, and then the week after we'll do offers to lease. So on Thursday, we usually have a lineup of guest speakers, and this week we have Zolo Mortgages joining us. So please tune into that. All right, so I have about half of you who have answered my poll question, so thanks for that. I'll give it 5 more seconds here if you don't mind just answering. I will end the poll in 2 seconds, and here we go. So when did you get your license? It looks like half of you have been licensed less than a year, so that's great. Welcome to the industry. I have 26% of you licensed less than 2 years. And let me see, how many leases have you done? So I've got a good chunk of you, 37, who have done none, and then a good chunk of you, also 37%, who have done more than 5. So it looks like I have a good mixed group here today. How many buyers have you worked with? So again, 37%, not yet. But then I have 16% of you guys who have done 10 plus deals. So awesome. Thank you for joining us today, even though you have done so many buyer transactions already. Hopefully what I'm hoping to share with you guys here today is really just to build that loyalty. So even if you have done a bunch of buyer transactions, let's talk about how to increase that loyalty. So all of this information, of course, is available to you in the Academy, which you can find through your CRM. So don't forget about the Academy, and of course our YouTube channel. There's a link to that as well. But if you're looking to access the Academy, just click on the Tools drop-down menu, and that will take you to the Academy, which looks like this. So I recommend the course list view, because then you see everything there in a list view. So it's really easy to find. And so what I'm going to point out here for you guys today is, of course, offers to purchase, because that's kind of the second piece of what we're talking about today, but we're not going to focus on it today. Today, we're talking about that initial conversation with buyers and how to build loyalty. But if you want to jump in and see how to put an offer together, we're going to be doing that tomorrow on web forms, but you do have that available to you in the Academy. All right, so that is all of the housekeeping stuff. Web forms is also available to you in the online academy. So, anytime you're putting anything together, do check this out, because it's all the information you need to know in bite-sized pieces. And of course, your team leads and growth managers are there for you if you need help, even after hours working on an offer. All right, okay, so yes, that's all the housekeeping stuff. I think I've admitted everybody who has joined. So again, thank you for joining me here today. We are talking about buyers. So let's get into it. Let's just kick it right off with those conversations. So as I said, we are talking about how to have those initial conversations with buyers, and it is very different than a conversation that you're having with a lease lead. With lease leads, you're asking them what their credit score is and what their income is, and you're letting them know what the landlords are looking for, right? And it's really difficult. I know I've heard from a lot of you guys, it's really difficult because landlords have all different kinds of criteria that they're looking for. We don't really know what one particular landlord is looking for because they are individuals, right? It's a much easier conversation to have with buyers, because buyers just need to go to a mortgage broker or to their bank, and there are very, systematic qualifying criteria for buyers, right? So they need to have a credit score of at least 650. And of course, they have to have income, they need to have low debt, they need to have a good credit score. So, those are the conversations that is going to take place with the buyers and their mortgage broker and their bank. So not something you have to concern yourself with. So definitely you don't want to be asking about credit score or income. That is a conversation that the buyers are going to have with their mortgage broker. So again, when you are working with leases, you're wearing all of the different hats. That's why we sort of ask that newer agents do 5 leases before they get started, because you really do get to know the whole transaction, right? You get to understand everybody's role because you're actually playing all of those parts. But when you're working with buyers, you are just focusing on your role as a realtor. You are no longer the mortgage broker pre-qualifying them, and you're no longer the lawyer doing the closing at the end of the transaction. So let's talk about the conversation you want to be focusing on. So here's a script, and if you've listened to me before, I'm not heavy on scripts. I like to just start out with, how can I help you? And if you determine that they are qualified during the process, then when would you like to see properties? Really, that's my recommendation for a script. 2 simple questions: how can I help you, and when would you like to view the property? So in between that, you definitely want to have an understanding as to what they're looking for. But again, you're not going to pre-qualify them heavily. So, but you do want to know what they're looking for. So there's this acronym that may or may not be useful to you. LP MAMA basically stands for location, price, motivation, agent, mortgage, and appointment. So of course, asking a simple question, how can I help? They'll probably disclose to you what it is that they're looking for and why, right? So that covers the first 3, right? What location they're looking at, what location they're hoping to buy in, what their price point is, which of course, will go hand in hand with their location. So, if they have a budget that is lower, but they're looking in kind of a higher end neighborhood, they may have to adjust their expectations. And that might be part of your conversations with them going forward. So you definitely want to know what their location is, what their, where they're looking to buy, what their price point is, and what their motivation is, right? This is going to allow you to tailor your services based on what they're looking for and why. So, if they're looking to get into a particular school catchment, right now it's May, so they're probably looking to do something before July, August, right? So they're in the right school catchment for their kids, that they can start their kids off a new year in September in the school zone that they want to be in. So, that would be a pretty tight timeline. But if you have somebody, if you're speaking to, for example, a first-time home buyer who hasn't really started saving their down payment yet, they're not ready, they might be a year, maybe 2 years out before they actually buy a property. So you're going to tailor your services differently to somebody who is further away from actually buying than somebody who is closer to buying. So it's really important to ask about motivation and timeline. So location, price, And motivation is definitely something that you can probably get out of a buyer during an initial conversation simply by asking them how you can help, because they'll probably tell you that information. Of course, you want to find out if they're working with an agent. And really, this is going to be the only question you really want to ask, right? Are you working with an agent? And if they are working with an agent, then of course, we can't work with them. If they're committed in writing to working with another agent, then, they already have a working relationship with an agent and we can't interfere with that. So that would kind of be, the end of the conversation. You may want to provide them with, whatever information that they were looking for. Of course, at Zolo, we do get notified that somebody is requesting information about a property. You're already on the call with this person. You might let them know, yes, this particular property is accepting offers on Friday. So if you do want to take a look, just reach out to your agent and they can book a showing for you, right? So you still want to provide good customer service. You don't want to hang up with them right after learning that they do have an agent that they're working with. If they do, that's fine. Provide them with the information and then just point them in the right direction. They have to go back to their agent if that's who they're going to work with, right? So do ask if they have an agent. You also want to ask if they've been pre-qualified, but honestly, the answer to this shouldn't matter. If they say, yes, I've been pre-approved, great. So then they know their number, right? Or hopefully they know their number, right? So what price point are you looking to stay within, right? And if they say, well, we've been pre-approved for 800,000, that's great. That's more information that you have, right? But if they say, no, we haven't spoken to a mortgage broker, but we kind of have it in mind that we should qualify for about 800,000. Don't dismiss the lead at this point. If you just at this point say, no problem, I'm going to refer you to 3 mortgage brokers, and you send an email with 3 different names, the chances of them coming back to you to actually purchase a property is less than if you had taken the time to meet with them, right? So they're not qualified, but they say that they think they should qualify for 800,000. So, believe them and hope that that's true. Go to the in-person showing. And again, at that point, you can now refer them to, a few mortgage brokers, including, of course, Zolo Mortgages, and see if they can get pre-approved. The chances of them coming back to you and buying through you are higher now because they've actually met you. So there you go. Mortgage, ask the question, but don't dismiss them if they haven't been pre-qualified yet. So really, at the end of that whole conversation, you really want to be converting these calls to appointments. And really, at the end of the day, if they don't end up qualifying, not the end of the world. Maybe they'll qualify in 6 months from now, in a year from now. Maybe in the meantime, they'll even have friends that they want to refer you to, right? So, it's not a waste of time. Anytime you have an opportunity to get in front of somebody and talk about real estate, go and do it. That's the whole thing. Real estate is a numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more offers you're going to be writing, the more deals you're going to be closing. So it's a numbers game. You want to get in front of as many people as possible. So go to that appointment, even if they're not qualified. Because in addition to being a numbers game, real estate is a long game, right? We're not looking for people who are, ready to buy something tomorrow. That sometimes falls into your lap, which is great, but it doesn't always. So, if somebody's available in 6 months or a year from now, you're going to have something in place where you are systematically staying in touch with them so that they remember you, right? But again, they're going to remember you more if you go to that in-person showing. So definitely make an appointment, even if they're not pre-qualified, and even if you're not quite sure what their timeline is, take the time to meet with them, get in front of that person, have a discussion about real estate. That's what our whole role is here. It's all about building relationships, and the transactions, I promise you, will come. All right. So one of the things that really is going to increase loyalty is you explaining the process to the buyer. Now, this doesn't have to necessarily be part of your initial phone call, because you don't want to keep somebody on the line for half an hour. People are busy, people have things to do, but you do want to let them know what the process is, right? And what I'm going to get into today is I'm going to share with you guys a couple of buyer's guides, some buyer presentations. And what you might want to include is something like this, some sort of a roadmap. And this is something that you can bring with you to a showing. So if you schedule an initial showing, because you've had that conversation with the lead, they are interested in properties, they may or may not be pre-qualified, go ahead, have that in-person meeting. You're meeting at the first property out of 3 or 4 maybe scheduled, and then go ahead and have this in addition to the MLS listings that you've printed out, hopefully. you'll have this buyer's roadmap, and it kind of serves two purposes. It does explain the process to them, but it also kind of serves as your talking points, right? Just as I'm using this presentation today, it's kind of nice to have a roadmap for yourself so that you don't miss any of the steps. You can describe each step in order and in depth. So this is something that you might want to do after you've shown them the 3 properties. You've taken them out on showings, you've scheduled 3 properties in a row, and now you're done. You're at that 3rd property. Along the way, you've kind of got to know each other. You know, you're understanding a little bit more about what they're looking for and why. You know, hopefully you have a good rapport. And by the time you get to the 3rd property, you can take a little bit of time. And now that you understand, you know, a little bit more about maybe where they are and how much they know about the process, this is your opportunity to show them and to explain to them, you know, what to expect. So definitely meeting with a real estate professional. Notice that is step number 1 before getting pre-approved. If they have been pre-approved before, that's nice, but again, not mandatory. So those 2 things, you know, you want to talk to them about whether or not they've been pre-approved. You're already at the showing at this particular point. So if they haven't, then just let them know. I'm going to follow up with an email. I'm going to send you 3 different names for mortgage brokers that I've used in the past. And if you're brand new and you haven't used mortgage brokers in the past, reach out to your team leader, reach out to your growth manager. We can recommend some mortgage brokers for you. And of course, we'll be recommending Zolo mortgages as well. So that's something that you want to talk to them about, right? And let them know of course, it's an important step because we want to be shopping for properties that are in your price range. Now, searching for homes. Now that you do have a price point, you know, given to you by a mortgage broker or by your bank, then now we can really focus the search and look at properties that are within your price range. This is your opportunity to talk about the market a little bit. Right now, we're definitely in a seller's market. So if their budget is $850,000, you probably don't want to be looking at properties that are listed for $850,000, right? So you have that conversation with your buyers and you let them know right now we're in a seller's market. There's not a lot of inventory. There's a lot of buyers looking. There's a lot of competition. There seems to be a trend right now where properties are listed a little bit on the low end, not really what the sellers are expecting. The sellers are expecting sometimes $100,000 or more over ask. So that's the situation we're in. That's the market we're in. So if your budget is $850,000, let's take a look at properties that are listed for $699,000, right? So have that conversation so that they know, okay, they know what to expect. They're not going in on offer day on a property that's listed for $850,000 with high hopes, right? You have educated them, you have told them what to expect, so there are no surprises. So once you have selected a property that hopefully is, you know, priced $699,000, $750,000, if their budget is $850,000, now you can go ahead and make an offer. Talk to them about how offers are being presented, right? Are they holding off on offers? And let them know most properties are holding off on offers, which means not everybody knows what that means. You know, they're picking a day and they're going to look at all offers on that particular day at a particular time. In some cases, they will allow for a preemptive offer. Now, if your client says we would love to submit a preemptive offer, also explain what that means. Preemptive offers need to be really strong offers, right? It's that old saying, I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. That's what a preemptive offer should be. It should be so enticing that the seller doesn't want to go to multiples, right? They're going to take your offer because it's firm. You're giving them the dates they want. It's a price higher than what it's listed for. So educate your clients on that. You don't want to be submitting a preemptive offer that is at list price with conditions. It's just not going to happen. So again, you don't want to set your clients up for disappointment. Let them know, you know, how they should be presenting their offer and when. So talking to them about that, your role is going to be to negotiate the contract and hopefully get it accepted, right? So this is also where you would talk about, in this particular market, going in as firm as possible. So going in over ask, sharing comparables with them when you get to that stage, and let them know, I'm going to be here to give you, you know, a price range, right? Of course, you know, we never know what a property is going to sell for exactly. We don't have a crystal ball. You know, sometimes buyers will blow everybody out of the water and, you know, offer something that is much, much higher than market value because they really, really wanted it. And so we can't anticipate that happening. All I can do is give you a price range of what has recently sold. And again, right now in a seller's market, I'm not going to go back 6 months. I'm not going to give you unrealistic expectations. I'm going to tell you what has sold in the last 30 to 60 days. I might not even go as far back as 90 days. So you're going to have a strong offer because we're going to work together on a purchase price, right? And talk to them about putting their best foot forward, not waiting for a second round. That doesn't always happen. So, again, you're giving them all these tools and you are providing information that as to how you're going to help them through the process, right? So that the offer does get accepted and so that you are under contract, right? So explain what that means. They will need to provide a deposit, which is usually 5% of the purchase price. So let them know that. Do you have those $50,000 available? Are you able to, deliver it within 24 hours of acceptance, right? Again, no surprises. You don't want them to be surprised by the fact that they need a large chunk of money available in 24 hours after an offer is accepted. So definitely talking to them about that. And then final details usually means due diligence. But in this particular case, in this market, we're not going in with conditions, most of the time. So, there isn't probably, financing to confirm. There's probably not an inspection to be conducted. There's probably not a status certificate being reviewed. So those would typically be the final details. So again, talk to your clients about that. That's typically what would happen. But right now, if you're going in with a firm offer, talk to them about what a firm offer means. It means there's no changing your mind, there's no backing out, and off you go to closing day. So that's when the lawyers take over. That's when the mortgage brokers take over. They work their magic. That is kind of outside of your realtor role. But of course, you're going to be in contact with all of the other professionals. You're going to be providing the accepted agreement. You're going to be providing the full MLS listing the lawyer and to the mortgage broker. So again, you're still playing a part, but you're not playing that heavy of a role as you would, in a lease transaction. So there you go. I've just broken down this whole roadmap, how you might want to explain it to your buyers so that they feel empowered. They know exactly what to expect, and they're starting to trust you, right? This is how you don't get ghosted. It's by building trust, and it's by educating them on the process. If they feel like you have given them a significant amount of time to explain the process, then they're going to feel, hopefully, if they're good people, a little bit guilty about going somewhere else, right? You've already spent some time. If you are just showing up to a showing and you're unlocking the door and you're waiting for them to give you feedback and that's it, that's all you've done, the loyalty is obviously not going to be as high as if you take some time and you have some kind of a buyer presentation or a buyer's guide that you can help them with. All right, so I have a question coming in here. How about what the bank appraises versus mortgage amount? The buyer has to pay the difference. Yes, absolutely. And these are definitely questions you can ask me here when he joins us on Thursday from Zolo Mortgages. But yes, absolutely, this happens. So if you happen to be representing that buyer who blows everyone out of the water and wins with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars over what the list price was, make sure that they have cash to cover the difference that will probably be between the appraisal amount and the sold price. So definitely educating your clients on that if you do happen to have somebody who is, really, really eager. People want things when they want things, and then, make sure that they understand the consequences of it. So yes, if you have somebody who is wanting to completely go way over ask, you might be excited that you have a pretty good chance of getting an offer accepted, but please make sure that your buyers are in a position to actually buy the property, because if that appraisal comes in, they've offered 950,000 on that listing that was 699, and it appraises at 800, they have to have $150,000 in their bank account to make up the difference. So yes, definitely talking to them about that. So having this sort of a roadmap will keep you on point and will bring up topics like that you can address with your buyers. All right. So here's a typical call flow. I won't get into this too much because I want to show you guys some buyer guides, some buyer presentations. So yes, just make sure that when you are talking to a lead, as I said before with the LP Mama script, if you're returning a call, make sure that you're introducing yourself professionally as an agent from Zolo.ca. And just remind them what they inquired about. I see that you inquired about 123 Main Street. How can I help you? So again, not script heavy, just how can I help? And then you can listen to them with their location, their price, and their motivation, right? That's going to be part of that LP Mama script, that information that you're trying to uncover. So yes, what are you looking for? Area, bedrooms, budgets. When are you looking to move? There you go. Location, price, and motivation. Also in the CRM, you do have, I'm just going to plug the CRM really quickly because you do have a section in the client profile page. The very last section is called qualifying. So you can pull that up. If you're a brand new agent and you haven't had too many of these conversations yet, pull up that qualifying questionnaire because it's all right there in front of you. So it's also a great place to record that information. So you can go ahead and enter in what it is that they're saying to you, because it's going to be really difficult to remember all of the conversations you have with every single lead. So use that qualifying section to record all of this information. This is your opportunity to say, are you familiar with the process, right? And it doesn't matter if they say yes or no. This is your opportunity to say, great. So you know the market is really competitive. You know, this particular property is accepting offers on Friday. Are you available between today and Friday to take a look, right? So you don't need to get into the whole roadmap until you're actually face-to-face with them. And in addition to that, I'm going to say something else now. You can even do it after your initial conversation and before the showing. You can schedule a virtual buyer consultation. This is something that a lot of agents, I think, implemented, you know, at the beginning of COVID, where people were really nervous, and people still are, but just nervous to get out there and meet face to face. Do a buyer consultation. That definitely increases loyalty. And I'll be showing you some presentations in a moment here as well. So are you familiar with the process? Great, you know it's competitive. Let's schedule a showing right away before it sells. In the meantime, you know, let's just schedule a quick Zoom call, you know, before Friday, and I'll just walk you through the process a little bit more when you have a little bit more time, right? So you're not intruding on their day right here, right now, and scheduled. You're requesting that consultation. So if they go for that, great. If not, then you can do it during the initial showing and walk through that roadmap I mentioned at the beginning. All right, when would you like to see the property? Of course, that's going to be how you close the call, right? Because you're closing that call, converting it to a showing right away. When are you available to view the property? Again, if they're accepting offers on Friday, are you available between now and Friday? Because if not, it's going to sell. So yeah, if they say, you know what, let's do it tomorrow at 2 o'clock, perfect. I will, you know, schedule that right now. In the meantime, I'm going to send you other listings that are similar directly from my MLS system. If there's anything else you want to see, please let me know, and we can schedule 2 or 3 back to back that we can take a look at tomorrow at 2, right? So again, you're being proactive. You're not waiting for the lead to contact you, to request a showing. I know they have access to Zolo. I know they have access to all of the listings, but set them up on a search so that they are receiving properties that match all of their criteria. The bedrooms, the 3, the +1, the price point, $699. Those are the only listings they're getting directly from you. And they can easily reply to you saying, you know what, let's add these 2 properties to our showing tomorrow at 2. Perfect, done, right? All right, so definitely show them alternatives. All right, before I get into calling old leads, because you don't just want to rely on new leads, right? Any business, doesn't matter what industry you're in, if you're just relying on new leads, it's actually quite expensive and it's a lot more work to go after new leads than it is to just touch base with people that maybe you have previously sold to. Maybe they were a lease lead, right? Maybe you put them into a lease property a year ago. So you want to be reaching out to those leads. You want to be reaching out to leads who you previously showed properties to. Maybe you haven't closed a deal with them yet. You definitely want to be following up with people who are already in your system. But before I get to that, I have some questions coming in. Is the buyer's roadmap going to be sent to us? I haven't seen this elsewhere. Yes, okay. Breakthrough Broker, I always recommend it. I'm going to do a screen share in a minute where you guys can find this. Breakthroughbroker.com, and it's free. All you have to do is sign up, and you can download a whole bunch of things, including the buyer's roadmap. So I'll show that to you in a minute. Where is the area to record the details of what they are saying? Yes, in the client's profile, it's divided up to 5 different sections. The very last one is called qualifying. It has its own edit button, so you can click on that, and then it gives you a qualifying questionnaire. So that's a great place to record all of the information, because you can easily see in there what information they haven't given you yet, right? So you can ask them about that. So that's where you can find that. All right, I bought my client a condo and now renting it out, but reverse lookup doesn't work. That was my pitch on how I can help. Yeah, so definitely, great question. I usually escalate that to brokerage tech if your reverse lookup isn't working, because yes, it's a great thing to promote when you're in a listing presentation. So I think maybe realtor_support@zolo.ca might be able to hook that up for you again. Okay. The only problem with auto alert, they are only getting what is listed from my board. Agents on Trev won't show up. It won't show up in my client's auto alert. Very true. So again, you know, you still want to encourage them to use the Zolo website and just let them know, you know, I'm a TREB member, I'm a, you know, a member of the Toronto Real Estate Board, so you're going to get listings that are posted on there. But if there's something that's listed on the Oakville board or the Hamilton board or whatever it is, you know, you'll see that on Zolo. So if you don't see it coming from me, you can still request it through me and I can still book that showing. So just give them a heads up about that and explain kind of how that works, because yeah, people don't always get it. But you're right, yeah, not all listings will come up on auto alert, but at least they're getting targeted properties that do match their search criteria. So yeah, you know what, before I get into old leads, let me just do a quick screen share here so that I can show you Breakthrough Broker. So I did have it set up. Okay, so just confirm with me that you can see breakthroughbroker.com. This is their homepage. I've already logged in as myself, but very easy to sign up. And really, there's a whole bunch of different options that you can see here, different things that you can find and download, but they have a very handy search bar over here. And you can go ahead and do buyer roadmap, buyer roadmap. All right, so there's a couple here that you can choose from. The one that I was using is actually part of the buyer's guide, which I'll also show you. But yes, you can download an individual home buying roadmap by searching buyer roadmap in Breakthrough Broker. So if you click on this one, oh, it gives you some pop-ups. That's fine. So it says here, yeah, so this is going to be the roadmap. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but it's because I'm sharing my screen, but there's space for you to put your photo and your name and your contact information, so you can customize this. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you did want to do that, all you would have to do is follow the instructions, but just get started, I think is what you click on. And yeah, you're being asked here to upload a headshot, upload a logo, and then you can save that, but it's not going to let me do it without saving it. And there you go. So this auto populates your information, so it customizes it. I mean, how long did that take me? 10 seconds. And now you have a home buying process roadmap that looks like, you know, your branding, right? And actually, I like this one because it kind of matches our Zolo branding. So all you have to do is upload your headshot, you know, change your contact information, and this is something you can print out and bring with you to each and every showing and have as kind of a guideline, you know, use it as talking points. So there you go. That's one of the many things that you can find in Breakthrough Broker. One of the other things that I am planning on talking about here today is the buyer's guide. So let's once again just type in the search field. There's buyer's questionnaires, but buyer presentation maybe is what I'm looking for. And this is something that, again, you can download, you can customize, and this is something that you can have if you do schedule a Zoom consultation. You can do a buyer presentation with your clients, and there are some options here to choose from. So as you can see, hopefully, there's a modern looking buyer presentation template, and then there's kind of this more traditional buyer presentation template for individuals and for teams, and there's even one in Spanish. So makes it really easy for you to just customize. So you would probably be using the one, you know, just for an individual agent. So if you go ahead and click on that, it does give you different color schemes to choose from. So you can choose the blue, the red, the orange, whatever you'd like to do. And again, you just click on that and it auto-populates a lot of the information for you already. So all you would have to do is upload your photo, your contact information, and then there would be slides already in there about, you know, what we're going to talk about today and what do you love about your home and all of that kind of stuff. So I do have one. Whoops. Let's see, download version here, and I can just very quickly show you what this looks like. Let me know in the chat if you guys have a buyer presentation. I'd love to hear from you guys if you have one, or if you don't have one. Let me know. So here we go. This is what is on Breakthrough Broker. So, you know, finding your new home, and it's created 14 slides for you. So it basically, you know, just talks about, you know, first of all, an intro slide. So this might be an opportunity for you, again, to just introduce yourself on a more personal level to, you know, a buyer lead that you're talking to. Again, this could be done on Zoom. It's probably, you know, better to do it on Zoom than in person, because then you can have up to 14 slides and not be printing up this material trying to get through it during a showing, right? Just bringing that roadmap to a showing, I think, would be beneficial. But if you have the opportunity to schedule a buyer consultation with them beforehand, I think this is a really good way to do that presentation. So having an intro slide so they get to know you a little bit better, of course, again, this is going to increase loyalty, right? People want to work with people they like. So hopefully there's a common interest or a common background there, where they'll just like you more and they'll want to work with you. You can tell them a little bit about your background. So this doesn't necessarily have to be all of your real estate awards and sales, because you might not have that experience yet. You might be newer to the industry, but that doesn't mean that you don't have relevant experience that you're bringing with you to real estate. So again, let them know what you did before. And then of course, here you can talk about Zolo. So this is, about your organization, about your brokerage, and why you chose Zolo and why they should choose you and Zolo, right? So yes, just the fact that they can find every single property on the Zolo website, that's going to be super helpful for them. As a buyer's agent, you're going to be able to book showings back to back for any property that's listed on MLS. So they don't have to do any sort of legwork. They don't have to reach out to listing agents directly. So don't be scared to declare yourself as a buyer specialist. This is what you're doing. You're taking off that legwork from them. You're going to be booking the showings back to back, in an itinerary that's in chronological order, geographical order, 2 hours on a Saturday, instead of them contacting listing agents and being all over the place with their showings. So talk to them about the benefits of working with you, and then also the Zolo website. Here's that roadmap that I shared with you. So this is where I grabbed it from. So it doesn't come up when you search buyer's roadmap in Breakthrough Broker, but if you download this buyer's guide, this is where you can extract this roadmap. I really like this one. You can use the circle one as well that I showed earlier. Through Breakthrough Broker. So this is just a really great tool to have during every single showing, so you can talk to people about the process. Are you ready to buy? So this is a great conversation. Of course, you've already had this initial conversation, but after that initial phone conversation, you want to get to, a little bit more information about them. You want to be scheduling, hopefully, this buyer consultation online so that you can really listen to them. You can really ask them more questions. They've set aside some time for you. You're not interrupting their day. So are you ready to buy? Have you saved up a significant down payment? Like, where are you at with that? And you can talk to them about maybe some of the criteria, some of the things that they should have in place if they are thinking about buying. Getting pre-approved is maybe where you want to recommend some mortgage brokers, including, of course, Zolo Mortgages. And then understanding what they're looking for, right? So in a perfect world, what would your dream home look like, right? And why, right? What location? Why? Is it a school district? Like, what's the reason? Is it closer to work? Is it whatever? Further away from work? Now you don't need to be, downtown because you're working virtually. Like, what is the motivation? Let's get to the bottom of it so that you can help them. So what is it that you're looking for? And then of course you can, again, of course, provide value here and let them know how you're going to help. So yes, you're going to be scheduling showings back to back. They don't have to contact listing agents directly. So, you're going to set them up on a search in your own MLS system. Yes, they still have access to Zolo, but you know what? You also have a network of other realtors who are posting listings all the time, for example, in our workplace group, right? And so if something pops up there, it's a coming soon listing, you have access to that. You can tell your buyer clients this. So if anything comes up that you know about before it hits MLS, you will keep them top of mind and you can go and take a look at that property. So how is it that you're helping? What search tools do you have in place? Making an offer, again, this is where you can go into the offer process, which of course you can talk about in more detail again at the showing, but or if you talked about it already, just reiterates that. And then what happens when an offer is accepted? So really, again, you're just talking about the process, but there are no surprises. They feel like they're trusting you with this purchase because you're walking through all of the details. Obviously, you know what you're doing. You've done this before. And even if you haven't, at least you've done this presentation before, right? So they're feeling really comfortable working with you. You might want to talk to them about closing costs, although typically I like to leave that to the mortgage broker. So, you can take slides away as you wish, insert slides as you like. And then there you go. So, a closing day, identification, what to bring with you. Some of this stuff is Americanized, so you might want to Canadianize it, but, it's still all, a very good starting point. So last but not least, once again, you share your contact information, and then, you can go from there. Something we have not talked about is the buyer representation agreement. So that might be something you definitely introduce during a buyer consultation. So I did ask a moment ago if anybody had a buyer presentation. So I'd love to hear from you guys if you have. So just drop in the chat, do you have a buyer presentation? And when do you ask clients to sign a VRA? So 2 questions. I will put it in the chat because I would love to hear from you. I would launch it as a poll, but I can't do that. So do you have a buyer's presentation? Let me know. And while I'm waiting for your answers, I will just flip to another example of a buyer's guide here. All right. So let me know, guys. I have one which needs to be updated. Okay, awesome. Not yet. No problem. That's great. Good. So, well, hopefully this is giving you some inspiration to update whatever it is that you do have in place right now, because yes, I think that they're so useful. Yes, but need some updates. Not a great looking one. Not yet. Okay. Awesome. Thanks for chatting with me. I appreciate that, you guys. Awesome. All right. Let me see. Oh, good. Okay. I'm glad you're liking that one. So yeah, the Breakthrough Broker one is a template, easy to download. Now, here's the other one. I've created this one for you guys. I can share this with you. You can change the
webinar.
Oh, sorry, somebody was. Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to chat with me, but I think that was accidental. All right. So yes, you can get even more creative with these buyer guides. This is one that I created in Canva. So if you are using Canva, if you're familiar with it, reach out to me. I'm happy to share this presentation with you guys as a template, and then you can change the pictures. You can add pictures of yourself, of your kids, of your dog, whatever you want to make it more personal. So this is just another example of the same thing I'm talking about, right? So this might be a buyer's guide that maybe now you include in your email, in your follow-up email. So we had that initial conversation with our client. I've talked about scheduling a buyer consultation, right? Maybe they don't want to do a buyer consultation. Maybe they just want to go straight to the showing, which is fine. You go to the showing, you have that roadmap that I already talked about. So maybe what you do instead of that buyer consultation, that virtual Zoom consultation, if they don't want to do it, maybe you have something like this. And this is a PDF. This is something that I created in Canva. Again, happy to share. It's free. I love things that are free. Breakthrough Broker is free. Canva is free. So this is something that I created that I can share with you. And the only thing that I'm paying for in this particular case is something called Flip Snack, because what it does is it converts your PDFs into a bit of a magazine style. So I'm going to share this one with you. Yeah, absolutely. I will definitely share this. Sorry, I didn't even see your question, but yes, if they do not want to do a Zoom consultation, no problem. This is a solution. This is the next best thing. And yes, you don't have to use Flip Snack. You can create a PDF and just send it as a PDF. But I just think that this looks a little bit sharper, a little bit more professional. So this is your buyer's guide. Again, created in Canva. You can very easily change these photos. Have your contact information at the bottom, and then just go ahead. Dear future buyer, congratulations on your decision to purchase a home. You can talk about what you're able to assist with. Are you a first-time home buyer? I'll walk you through the process. Are you looking for more space? Are you downsizing? Are you relocating? Regardless of your situation, this guide has been compiled to help clarify the process of buying your dream home. I'm here to help. Whatever your tagline is, if you have something that you use on a regular basis, you might want to include that there. So as you can see, this kind of looks like a magazine. I love things that are virtual because yes, even though I'm paying for FlipStack, it is far less than the price of printing this out into an actual magazine. So anyway, let's flip to the next page. Hopefully you guys can see this. Let me just check the chat. Hopefully. Oh, my chat has disappeared. Yeah, flipping. Yeah, it's like a book. So a couple of pages on who you are. So very similar to that PowerPoint presentation that I showed you from Breakthrough Broker. What's your promise to your buyers? What is it that you're going to do, right? There's a whole bunch of things that you can, research on Google and, get inspiration from. I promise to bring a welcome energy and integrity to every transaction. And then maybe on the other side of that page, who are you? So again, this is making that buyer presentation a little bit more personable, right? So who are you? You can talk about, I come from this background. I used to have a business doing this. I have a couple of kids. This is where we live. I'm originally from somewhere else, so just again, my hobbies include tennis or whatever it is, right? Wine, again, you're making it a little bit more personable and you're getting people to relate to you and like you. People want to do business with people that they like. All right, so there you go. You've got a little intro on who you are. And then this is something that I created. So again, I'm happy to share this with you. Zolo. What about Zolo, right? Zolo.ca is Canada's leading tech-powered brokerage. We have the #1 real estate app in Canada. 90% of home buyers start their search online. You can find all MLS listings for sale across Canada on Zolo.ca, and we have over 11 million visitors per month. So that's about Zolo. Buyer's roadmap. So again, another roadmap, another way of doing it. Get pre-approved. Let's have a meeting. Let's search for homes. Let's make an offer. Let's present and negotiate that offer. You'll need to deliver the deposit, fulfill any conditions, and get to closing day. So I talked about this at length at the beginning, just a different way of presenting it. Now, this is something that I think is super important. Documents. Share with your clients the explained forms that are posted on the OREA website so that, again, it's not a surprise to them when they are writing an offer, especially if it's their first time writing an offer. Could you imagine getting like all 70+ pages of that offer for the first time without ever having seen these forms before or having reviewed these forms? So in your presentation, you can include descriptions of what each form is going to be. What is the agreement of purchase and sale? What is the buyer representation agreement? What is the confirmation of co-op? And what is the working with a realtor, right? This is also your opportunity to introduce the buyer representation agreement, right? So you can have that attached also to your email, all of these explained forms.
Jane, I have one question.
What are conditions? What is the closing and possession date? So again, you're just educating your clients. You're talking about multiple offer situations, how to best position themselves in a multiple offer situation. And then you might just want to, of course, give them a heads up on expenses, right? And maybe have a little worksheet that they can complete on their own because you don't want to be, telling them what it's going to cost exactly. You just want to make sure that they have the tools and they have the information that, yes, there's going to be closing costs involved. So, here's a little financial planning worksheet. And then there you go, you end the presentation again with your contact information. So there you go. So that is another example of a buyer's guide that you might want to send as part of your email. And then of course, attach those explained forms from the OREA website so that they are fully equipped and they now know you, they're starting to trust you, they like you. This is how you're going to build it. All right. Let me know if you guys have any questions. So thank you guys for answering me earlier about the buyer presentation. Now let me know if you guys introduced the PRA and at what point.
I have a question, Jane. So you should.
Why did the strawberry cry?
Hello? Yeah, clients.
Oh, sorry. I think somebody else has their mic on. Go ahead, sorry, unmute yourself.
Yeah, clients do not want to, sign when they know that the buyer representation date ends in like 5 months but that's a very important conversation to have with them, right?
Absolutely. So talk to them about the term. Talk to them about the buyer representation agreement. And don't be afraid, right? You're showing here in all of this, all of this effort with your buyer's guide, your buyer presentation, you are a professional, right? You have clients and you're going to dedicate your time to your clients and you just ask for the same in return, right?
Okay.
So if your clients don't want to sign for 6 months, that's fine. You could give it a 1-month trial, right? And after that 1 month, if they still haven't found anything, hopefully they've gotten to know you a little bit better and you're willing to extend that contract a little bit longer. So there's definitely ways to get them to maybe sign, a shorter term contract while they're still thinking about it.
What about when they say that they want a closing in 3 months, then I can request that at least we can have a 3-month contract, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. All right, so I've kind of lost my slides. I don't know where my slides went. I'm trying to do screen shares. Let me do a new screen share.
This is all recorded.
It is, yes. Today's session is recorded. Usually Tuesdays and Thursdays are recorded. So
very helpful.
Yes. It's restarted my slides, but basically I wanted to share with you guys those buyer presentations. So the buyer's guide and the buyer presentation. And then, yeah, just the importance of introducing the buyer representation agreement at some point. And you know what, at different points, at the beginning, in the middle, you know, during the offer stage, definitely it's something that they have to sign. So hopefully they are willing to commit to you. You're going to commit your time to them. And, you know, even if you're not busy, make yourself sound busy, right? You have clients who, you know, want to see properties on Saturday. So you're going to book Saturdays for the clients who are committed to working with you, right? Meaning having that buyer representation agreement signed.
Nicole, oh, there's one more question. Sometimes they just want to make an offer immediately. Like yesterday, I went to show a property. Now, I did not have the time to explain the buyer representation agreement. Do I really, do I really need to take out the time to explain the BRA?
You know what, at some point, yeah, find the time to talk to them about it, because again, this is your contract with them, right?
Yeah.
This officially makes them your client when they sign that buyer representation agreement. So yeah, if you're not able to explain it during a showing, you know, if you've already had that initial conversation with them, if you've already met with them, you know, you might want to ask them for a Zoom consultation, just a buyer consultation, just to further explain the process, right? And now that they've met you, you know, hopefully they're willing to do that. And then at that point, you can introduce the buyer representation agreement.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So yes, I can definitely email the sample Canva design for the buyer's guide. Hopefully it's something you guys implement. So again, there are so many different ways to do this. Have that initial conversation with your buyer clients. Don't pre-qualify them heavily. Go to the in-person showing and come prepared. Come prepared with that MLS listing. Bring that roadmap so you can talk to them about it. And before that, you know, you're either sending them an email with a link to, you know, your buyer's guide. If you're able to get them to do a Zoom consultation, I think that's a great idea. But you know what, if not, then at least you have a link that you can send them explaining the process and having them just get to know you a little bit better. So use technology to your advantage. There's so many things here that you can implement. Again, Breakthrough Broker, Canva, free, love it. So I will definitely send you guys the Canva presentation. Okay, so let me know. We've got a couple minutes left. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. And if not, I will launch. Oh, actually, I do have a BRA. Look at me. Okay, I'm going to launch this poll really quickly. When do you present the BRA? So I'd love to hear from you guys. Is it during the initial phone conversation? Is it during the first showing? Is it during the process of showing homes? Or is it during the offer stage? So that first time that you're writing an offer, is that when you're sending that BRA? Now, I know that when you're working with leases, it's usually a much shorter relationship, right? You're probably not working with them for as long as you would be or as you do with buyers. So, you know, usually a tenant representation agreement gets signed at the time of the offer because you probably talk to them, take them out on showings, and then, you know, the third sort of contact point hopefully is writing an offer so you can get that tenant representation agreement signed quite quickly. But with buyers, if you've been working them for a month or 2 or 3 months, please have them commit to you. Please have them sign that BRA. All right, so I'm getting some answers here. During the first showing, I've got 18% of you who have, requested the BRA on the first showing. Amazing, sounds good. During the process, I've got 12% of you, but yeah, most of you are doing it during the offer stage, which is fine. If you get to that offer stage, you know, early in the process, great. But again, if you've been working with them already for a few months and they haven't signed it yet, definitely get them to sign it. So yeah, excellent. 60% of you during the offer stage. Yeah, so you know what? It's kind of funny because this is so true, right? We don't get them to sign it until the offer stage because that's typically when we're talking about these forms, right? When we get to the offer stage. Incorporating a buyer consultation into your business, into the way you work with buyers, also kind of gives you permission to talk about these forms way before the offer stage, right? Allows you to introduce the buyer representation agreement and hopefully gets it signed, right? Way earlier in the process so that you know they're loyal to you. So, and really that was the whole takeaway with today, building loyalty so that you don't get ghosted by buyer leads. You know, you take them out on showings and you know that they're going to come back to you when they're ready to look at something else. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. So yeah, 62% of you get the buyer representation agreement signed, usually at the offer stage, but here's your opportunity today. Hopefully you took something from this and you'll be incorporating buyer consultations into your business. So I will follow up with an email before the end of the day, and you'll have a link to my sample Canva presentation. Awesome. All right, well, thanks so much, you guys, for joining. And I'll see you on the next webinar. Join us tomorrow for web forms. We will be working through an offer to purchase. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, Jane. It was great. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
We want all the slides. They were great.